Welcome everyone to our third installment. The first lesson plan we went over was about manipulating and adding subtracting phoneme sounds and how we speak as a beginning level English language arts and reading strategy and learning. The second one was about comprehension skills and how it's important to not only be able to read fluently text but also be able to understand what is the purpose of reading the text and how can we better understand it and put it on words. This third one is going to go into similar things, but we're going to be discussing the difference between a topic and theme about it. So again, I have a volunteer to help me out with this lesson. You can do most of these activities by yourself or with a parent, friend, a peer, anyone. And so I'll begin by asking, why do we read text?
We read text to be informed.
Okay, so what would be an example of some informational text that you would read?
Like a textbook.
A textbook. So that's a common thing that students have always seen, maybe not at their early ages, but anything that has to do with explaining something for information. What other ways or whatever text could there be? What else would you read a book for if it wasn't for information?
Some people do it for entertainment.
Some people do it for entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any books that you've enjoyed to read? Maybe not now, but when you were younger?
Junie B. Jones.
Junie B. Jones.
I enjoyed that in like the first grade.
When you read the Cat in the Hat book in our last video, was that to inform or was that to entertain?
Entertain.
That was entertain us. It's not really informing us about anything. So that's a big part about a difference you could say between a fiction and nonfiction book was about, is it to inform us or is it to entertain us? So a popular thing or a popular book or story that we all know that is a good example of this would be Cinderella. Are you familiar with the Cinderella story?
Yeah.
So when we're looking at distinguishing the topic and the theme, a lot of times they're similar, but a topic would be what is the book being written about, or what is the book about? So in Cinderella, what is the book about?
It's about this princess, or she's not really a princess. She's more of like a maid, and then she hears about a ball that she wants to go to, and then this prince, he finds interest in not her, but a glass slipper, and he has to go find her.
Okay.
To see who the slipper fits.
So based on all that, all of your supporting detail is great, but that would say our main topic, our main point of the story is Cinderella, right?
Yeah.
So she would be the topic. Whereas the theme would be, what is the purpose of reading the book, writing the book, what's the author's purpose would be the theme. So that's different than the topic, because then we're asking, what is the message behind the book? So based on the supporting details, you kind of went into it. What would be a lesson we've learned from, you said she's not really a princess, but a prince wants to marry her. So what would be the theme of that?
Rags to riches.
Rags to riches. So just saying anyone can find love in any situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a common theme most people will draw from it. So that's how we separate a topic from our theme, with the topic being, what is the book about, Cinderella, and the theme being the lesson that you get in the book and in your own words typically think of. The book doesn't explicitly say that anyone can find love, but based on some supporting detail that we have concluded from our understanding is anyone can find love. And so typically when we're reading text, are there typically multiple topics in a book, or is it typically one main character, one main topic?
There is most of the time more than one topic.
Okay, yeah, sometimes there is, but in Cinderella, isn't she the main focus?
Oh, I was talking about themes.
Okay.
There's more than one theme, but yeah, mainly one topic.
Yeah, because we usually have a topic usually about a main character, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we'll have supporting characters, but they're not the topic.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, like most stories will have multiple themes, but only one, if not, two or three main topics. So, to show this, I'll at first read some text of, I'll read two different stories, and then we'll answer some questions about it, and I'll have our own self-assessment, we'll have you read, or at home read, your own stories and answer some further questions about it. So, to start off, I'll read a book called Will the Wolf. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Will was fed up. All he wanted was to do things his way. Why did all the wolves have to do everything together anyway? They ate together, played together, slept together, and walked together, everywhere, every day. It was exhausting. Will was growing up. He could do things himself now, and he had some pretty good ideas too. But his mom wouldn't let him try his ideas by himself. Will didn't get it. One day, the pack was walking through the woods. Will had an idea that there was food down a path, but the pack didn't want to go that way. Finally, Will said, "Why do we need a pack anyway? I'm going to go down that path and I'll have plenty to eat. I don't need you guys." The pack did not approve, they said. "Will, you can try going off on your own, but we need to work together in our pack. Packs help us survive." Will didn't believe them. He ran off on his own. He ran for miles. He started to get tired, and it was getting dark. Usually, the pack would all find a spot together to sleep, but Will had no pack now. He decided to find a cave. When he settled down to sleep, Will thought, "Sleeping would be much easier with my pack all around me. If something comes, I'd have them to protect me." He barely slept that night. In the morning, he decided to go back. Will hoped he could find his pack again. He ran back to where they'd last been together. As he was running, he smelled a deer. Will thought. The pack would be impressed if I brought a deer for us all. So he decided to hunt on his own. Quietly, he crept through the woods. He tracked the deer into a clearing. Will looked around. Where was the deer? Suddenly, something charged out of the trees at him. It was the deer, and those antlers were sharp. If his pack were here, they would help him, but Will was alone. He ran from the deer as fast as he could. After a while, the deer stopped chasing him. Will rested. He started to think how much easier this trip would have been with his pack by his side. He would have been able to sleep soundly. He would have been warmer with them all around him. He would have been able to take down the deer with his pack by his side. Now, Will was just hungry and lonely. He realized his pack had been right. Packs do help them survive. Will knew that now, and was determined to find his pack and work hard to help them as much as they help him. Okay, so from that story, what would be the topic of the story, the main character?
Will the wolf.
Will the wolf. Is this story fiction or non-fiction?
Fiction.
Okay, fiction, because it's not a true story.
Yeah.
And so, what would be the conflict?
The conflict would be Will believing he can do stuff on his own.
Okay. How was the conflict resolved?
By Will figuring out that he cannot do stuff on his own and that his pack is very helpful.
Okay, so based on those last two questions, what could we take from the theme of that?
That teamwork makes the dream work.
Teamwork makes the dream work. Okay, so now I'll read another story and see if we make some comparisons. A cloud is made of water drops. Alright, this is called water clouds. A cloud is made of water drops, or ice crystals floating in the sky. There are many kinds of clouds. Clouds are an important part of Earth's weather. The sky can be full of water, but most of the time you can't see the water. The drops of water are too small to see. They have turned into a gas called water vapor. As the water vapor goes higher in the sky, the air gets cooler. The cooler air causes the water droplets to start to stick to things like bits of dust, ice, or sea salt. Clouds get their names in two ways. One way is by where they are found in the sky. Some clouds are high up in the sky. Low clouds form closer to the Earth's surface. In fact, low clouds can even touch the ground. These clouds are called fog. Middle clouds are found between low and high clouds. Another way clouds are named is by their shape. Cirrus clouds are high clouds. They look like feathers. Cumulus clouds are middle clouds. These clouds look like giant cotton balls in the sky. Stratus clouds are low clouds. They cover the sky like bed sheets. Most of the water in clouds is in very small droplets. The droplets are light that float in the air. Sometimes those droplets join with other droplets, then they turn into larger drops. When that happens, gravity causes them to fall to earth. We call the falling water drops rain. When the air is colder, the water may form snowflakes instead. Freezing rain, sleet, or even hail can fall from clouds. Okay, so we're going to answer the same questions from the wolf. So what was the topic of that story?
Clouds.
Okay. So I know typically I'll ask the question, who's the main character, but this one doesn't have a main character, but it does have a topic of that. So based on that assessment, is the story fiction or nonfiction?
Nonfiction.
Okay. So because it's nonfiction, I want to ask you about the conflict. Is there a conflict?
No.
So I'll just ask you, what's one fact that you took from the text?
I heard something about water vapor.
Water vapor? And what is water vapor?
It's basically like part of the water cycle.
Okay. Evaporation.
Yeah, evaporation. Yeah.
So because it's nonfiction, we're not going to have a conflict, but because conflict is not to inform us, but so we have facts that are to inform us. So there's a lot of facts in there you could have chosen from.
Mm-hmm.
So why is it important in a nonfiction book? Why are we learning about clouds? Are clouds important to us?
Yeah. Clouds are important to us.
Why are they important?
Because that's what our water cycle is, you know?
And we need water.
Yeah.
Rain like waters the crops and keeps the earth cool and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so what would be the theme of this text? We don't have a main character or a conflict, so what would be the theme?
To inform us about clouds?
Exactly.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Just to inform us about clouds. That's the purpose of the author writing the text, is to inform us about clouds. So that's why it's a bit easier in a nonfiction to figure out the topic and the theme, because they go together a lot better, because they're kind of the same thing, clouds. And in a fiction book, in Will the Wolf, was it as easy to figure out the theme?
No.
Because sometimes you have to find supporting details and all, right?
Yeah.
So it can be a bit harder because you have to make it in your own words and find support in the text.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now that we've kind of gone over that, we've gone over some skills about how it's a bit easier to find the theme and the topic, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you wouldn't mind, I'll have you read another text yourself and then answer some other questions. Okay?
Okay. And I just start?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. How do I scroll down? Okay. The smell of popcorn was in the air. I could hear kids laughing and screaming. People were everywhere. The breeze felt warm on my skin. It was a perfect day at the amusement park. My family and I wandered around the park getting snacks and going on rides. I loved almost all types of rides. I loved to go fast and to spin around, to go down hills and to get splashed. The only rides I didn't like were rides that turn you upside down. My little brother Ben didn't like those either, but my older sister Laura loved them. When we finally were near a ride that went upside down, she started asking me to go with her. I told her I don't like those rides, but she kept asking. Then she started whining because she didn't want to go alone. I was feeling sympathy for her, so I started thinking that maybe I should go with her. Even though I really don't like to go upside down, I looked to my parents for help. Matt, you are allowed to stand up for yourself. If something makes you feel really uncomfortable, you can tell people no. It's okay to tell Laura that you love her, but that you can't go with her because going upside down makes you uncomfortable. Be strong but kind when you tell her so that she knows you're serious. Mom said. I don't want to make Laura mad or sad though, I replied to Mom, and I don't want her to think I'm being mean. There's a difference between being aggressive and being assertive. You're not saying no to be mean to Laura or to hurt her feelings. You're just listening to your own feelings to make sure you stay safe. It's fine to tell her no for this, Mom answered. The same goes for Laura. If you ask her to arm wrestle and she doesn't feel comfortable, she's allowed to say no too. We are all allowed to stand up for ourselves to make sure we stay safe. Does that make sense? Yes, thanks, Mom, I said. I told Laura that I love her and like to do things with her, but that I wasn't comfortable going on upside down rides today because they scare me. She was sad but went on the ride by herself and was really happy when it was over. We had a great rest of the day at the amusement park.
Okay, now there's just some follow-up questions at the bottom for you to answer.
Okay, so the topic of the story would be about the amusement park, and I think the main character's name was Matt.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't like upside down rides, but his sister Laura does.
So the topic's just about his day at the amusement park.
Yeah.
Okay.
The story is fiction because these people, although they could be real, are not.
Okay. And it's also not trying to inform us, it's trying to entertain us.
Yeah. So, the conflict would be Matt not wanting to hurt his sister Laura's feelings by not going on the upside down rides with her.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, that's conflict. And
how did the conflict get solved? Matt asked his parents for some advice, and they gave him advice
what was the advice?
to that it's okay to say no and to stand up for yourself
Mm-hmm.
in predicaments that make you uncomfortable,
Yeah.
even though it's hurting somebody else.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And the last question?
The main theme of the text would be kind of like that, where it's okay to stand up for yourself, even though, you know, it could be hurting someone else.
Mm-hmm.
Not physically, but
Standing up for yourself, and it could hurt someone else's feelings.
yeah.
And like they said, just be strong and kind so they understand you're serious, but also you don't want to be mean.
Yeah.
So thank you for reading that text. I hope we learned something about some skills and just how to better be able to understand the difference between a topic and theme, and about the author's topic, which is what is the main character typically, or what is the text informing us about. It's important to ask the questions of, is it meant to inform or persuade us or entertain us, which will give us a clue into, is it fiction or nonfiction, and also give us a clue about the main topic being a character, or about another thing like the clouds were the main topic, and then theme being something in your own words. What did you take from the book, the author's purpose, why was it written? Thank you for watching my video, and if you want to do these activities by yourself, I have links in the lesson plan to get some different short stories. There was a great website full of resources, and thank you.